Let's plan a trip to Disney World. Later this year, Rachel and I are going to Disney with my parents, my brother, his wife, and their 1-year-old. So it is time to plan a trip. Rachel and I were just in Orlando earlier this year, so I think we have some lessons learned from that. But everyone else, it's been a while for them. On top of that, there's a 70-year age gap between the youngest and oldest person in the group, so that's going to make planning a little bit more interesting. Just for context, we're staying off resort. My goal here is to give my family an idea of what to expect so that they can let me know what seems fun to them and I can buy tickets and start making reservations. My plan is to do a quick overview of each park, give some options for dinner or just food in general, highlight some of the things that I personally want to do, especially some of the newer things, some of the things I didn't get to do last time I was there. And then I'm gonna finish up with a few sample itineraries to hopefully give us somewhere to start and plan our vacation. Magic Kingdom seems like the natural place to start. It does seem kind of like the iconic Disney park with Cinderella's castle and everything. It's, I think, what people think of when they think Disney. It's definitely the most ride-heavy park. We don't have a super ride-interested group, but I'm sure I'll take advantage of at least some of the rides. Magic Kingdom is divided into several themed lands or neighborhoods. If you don't know that, you just walk into the park, it seems super overwhelming, but if you break it down kind of into the neighborhoods, like I'll put a map up on the screen now, you can kind of see where the different things are. You enter the park on what's called Main Street USA, and then kind of starting in the bottom left and moving around clockwise. Adventureland is themed after exotic places like the Caribbean and Africa, and that's where you'll find rides like the Jungle Cruise or Pirates of the Caribbean. Next we have Frontierland, and as the name suggests, it's themed after the Wild West and features attractions like Big Thunder Mountain, Splash Mountain for now, although that'll be closed when we go as it gets its retheme. Moving on, you can see Liberty Square. This area is themed after colonial America and features attractions like Haunted Mansion, which is pretty popular. They even have a riverboat, which I think might be my dad's favorite Disney attraction when all is said and done. Then moving on, we get to Fantasyland, home to many of the park's kind of more classic attractions, including everyone's favorite It's a Small World, Peter Pan's Flight, which is pretty cool, and the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which last time Rachel and I were there, we got to ride twice, both during the fireworks show, so that was pretty cool. And then finally we come to Tomorrowland. It's themed after the future and features attractions like Space Mountain, that's a big one, and the People Mover, which I think if you don't know what it is, sounds pretty lame, but if you get on it, it's pretty cool and actually gives you a really good overview of that area, and literally takes you through some of the rides, which is pretty neat to kind of watch the people screaming down Space Mountain while you're really just chilling on the People Mover. And then I think the thing that maybe I'm most excited about being back in Disney towards the end of this year is getting to ride the new Tron roller coaster, which will be open in Tomorrowland when we're there. So then the next park I think that makes sense to talk about is Hollywood Studios. It has a ton of attractions and experiences based on kind of popular movies and TV shows. That's the Hollywood name. Some of the main attractions are in the Star Wars Galaxy Edge area, which is something Star Wars nerd in me is pretty excited about. And then you can also do things like Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster, things like that. In addition to kind of the more traditional rides, you also can go to shows or experiences, and I think the kind of most common or iconic one of those is the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular, where they actually take you through a sample filming of some scenes of Indiana Jones and show you how they do all the stunts. Like I said, this is also where Galaxy's Edge is located. You can just walk around the area and it's modeled to look like a planet from the Star Wars universe. If you have the app on your phone, there are a ton of like mini games you can play while simply just walking around. I'm sure that's geared for kids, but I'll be honest, it kept my attention pretty well. Maybe that says more about me than the games, but here we are. I think the more exciting things here are really the Rise of the Resistance experience. It's really a lot more than a ride, to be perfectly honest. It's pretty cool if you've never done it before. Definitely worth checking out, although the waits can be pretty long and there's no way to circumvent that with Genie Plus. And then the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run ride is pretty cool. You play the role of either pilot, gunner, or engineer, trying to complete a successful mission on the Millennium Falcon. Next, I'll talk about Rachel's favorite park, which is Animal Kingdom. It kind of takes an amusement park and a zoo and kind of smashes them together in one place, which leads to some pretty cool stuff. The entrance to the park is called Oasis, designed to be kind of a lush garden and animal habitat. Guests can see several different species of birds as well as other animals like wallabies and giant anteaters. Discovery Island is kind of the center of the park, the hub of the park, and this is where the Tree of Life is, one of the kind of more popular landmarks in Animal Kingdom. Then moving on, we have Pandora, which, if you've ever seen Avatar, is modeled after that world. One of the best theme park rides I've ever done is Avatar Flight of the Passage, which simulates riding on the back of a Banshee, and it's definitely pretty cool. And then the Navi River Journey is a lot more chill, but also a pretty cool ride. The Africa area features several animal exhibits, as well as the Kilimanjaro Safaris, which is something I'm excited to hopefully get a chance to do. I've never been able to get on the safaris, but you get to go on a simulated safari through the savannah. And then finally, we have the Asia area that features several animal exhibits, as well as the Expedition Everest roller coaster, which again, I haven't been on. I'm excited to do, but it does have kind of a pretty high thrill rating, I'd say, so definitely be careful. All right, that's it for Animal Kingdom. I'll move on to Epcot, one of my favorite parks. I definitely think it's underrated. It's divided into two main areas. You can see on the map, kind of upper part is the World Showcase, and then below that is Future World. My favorite parts of Epcot are kind of a, I think, well-known drinking around the world, where you stop in at each of the 11 pavilions and get kind of one of their signature drinks. The highlights for me are any of the margaritas in Mexico, which I make sure to stop in last, or I think I might never make it past there. The frozen orange slushy in France, some of the more unique beer mixtures from the UK, and then the Viking coffee in Norway. And then I think I said it already, the Guardians of the Galaxy ride is just really cool, and I'm excited to do it again. And then finally, I'll move away from Disney and over to Universal. The Wizarding World of Harry Potter is themed after the Harry Potter books and movies and includes two sections across two different Universal parks. Hogsmeade is located in Islands of Adventure, where guests can visit Hogwarts Castle, which houses the Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey ride. Other attractions in Hogsmeade include the Flight of the Hippogriff roller coaster and the Hogwarts Express train, which takes guests from Hogsmeade to Diagon Alley and back again, depending on which side you're on, but you do need to buy a ticket that gives access to both parks if you want to take advantage of that. Diagon Alley, on the other hand, is located in Universal Studios, Florida, and is connected to Hogsmeade, like I said, via the train. In Diagon Alley, guests can visit Gringotts Bank and experience the Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts ride, which is rated very highly, but is a little bit more intense, and that takes guests on a journey through the Wizarding Bank. Like I kind of hinted at, the rides at Universal are a little more intense than the ones at Disney, but there are plenty of other things to do and certainly to eat throughout the different parks. So that covers all of the park options, and I'll move over to some ideas for food. There are a ton of food options at Disney World, and none of them are cheap, ranging from quick service options to sit-down restaurants. Something I haven't really covered yet is Disney Springs, the kind of free area where you can go. There are a ton of restaurants, shops, things like that. Disney Springs has a wide variety of restaurants, including the Boathouse, Morimoto Asia, and Chef Art Smith's Homecoming, among tons of other options. Personally, I'm really interested to go back to Boma, which is at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, which notably is not the park, so you do have to figure out a way to get there. I think they have a bus, you can take a taxi. Boma is a buffet-style restaurant with African-inspired dishes, but they really do have something for everyone. I tried some of their chicken nuggets and they were pretty good. And then I think the highlight that a lot of people talk about when they have taken a trip to Boma are the zebra domes. I'll put a picture on screen now. They definitely lived up to the hype, and I could have had several more than the two pictured on my plate here. I'd also like to give Space 220 a shot. It's one of the restaurants in Epcot, and it simulates eating dinner on a space station or something overlooking Earth, and so that's a pretty cool atmosphere. If we end up making it to Hollywood Studios, I do want to try the newly opened Roundup Rodeo barbecue place. So the thing to take away from this section is that there are a ton of different restaurant options. You need to figure out early what interests you. Anything sit down fills up super quick, so kind of all the places I mentioned, Boma, a lot of the places in Disney Springs, Space 220, probably Roundup Rodeo, but I'll have to see how that works. When you're in the parks, a lot of times you can do grab and go, just order on the app and then go pick up when it's ready, so that gives you a few more options in the park. But definitely if there's a place that you want to go and don't want to miss out on, then kind of figure out when that exact 60 days before your trip is and log on first thing in the morning to book your meal. All right, so real quick, here's a list of some of the things that I want to hit while I'm there personally. Flight of the Passage and Cosmic Rewind would be repeats, but they were both really good, and I think it would definitely be worth it. And then for everyone else, I think Rise of the Resistance, I'll be honest, I might get some hate for this, but I thought it was a little overrated, especially for the exceedingly long wait and constant breakdowns. But it was pretty cool, and it's worth checking out if you can make it happen. Jungle Cruise, I think, is another one that I don't myself love, but I think it's another chill ride. It works well for our relatively unique group, and in addition to the riverboat ride, Jungle Cruise might also be one of my dad's favorites. And then stopping by the Epcot World Showcase, even if you weren't gonna have a drink at every pavilion and do the traditional drinking around the world, it's just really cool to walk around, sample some of the drinks, some of the food, kind of get to see what's there. It's pretty cool to check out. All right, now let's talk about specifics. This first itinerary hits everything and gives us no breaks, which makes me a little nervous based on how much walking you do at each park. Disney Springs makes a great first day activity because you don't need to worry too much about reservations as long as you find somewhere that you want to eat and you have that locked down. Everything else is pretty chill. Each of the Disney parks themselves require a reservation, and it makes sense to do that as early as you can, which again is one of the reasons that I'm making this video for my family so that we can decide what we actually want to do. I think Magic Kingdom is really good to knock out early, which as you can see is the first day on this sample itinerary. It is such a tiring park, and if you want to see the fireworks, which are pretty cool, you're going to have to stay out late, and so that makes for a really long day. Animal Kingdom and Epcot can be slightly easier, so they're good parks to follow after a long day at Magic Kingdom. Although Epcot would also be a late night if you want to see the fireworks there. Their current fireworks show, they're actually closing down, and they're coming up with a brand new one for later this year. So again, something I might want to check out, but it's going to be tough to kind of have a couple long days back to back. So we'll have to play that one by ear. And that is something you can do too. You have the ability to kind of leave a park whenever you want. If you want to go back later, you can. And if you're just done for the day, that's okay too. And then towards the end of this itinerary, I think we'd honestly just have to push through Universal and Hollywood Studios and fly home exhausted afterwards. This option, as you can see, is really option 1A. It's not tremendously different from the first one, but it moves Magic Kingdom a little bit later and starts out a little bit slower to kind of ease into everything. It might help acclimate you to all the walking a little bit better, but the end of this week looks awfully tough on your feet. Here in this next one, we finally start sacrificing, and we cut out Harry Potter and don't hit any of the Universal parks. That way we can build in a rest day in the middle of the week following a rough day in Magic Kingdom. There's also a chance my brother and sister-in-law won't make it as early as the rest of us, so this option up on the screen takes that into account and gives us an early rest day, which could just as easily be more time for Disney Springs, but it allows some flexibility in when people are showing up to the park and makes it so nobody misses out on anything. One of the things I did not include in any of my options are the kind of park hopper option where you can bounce between Disney parks. I think starting at 2 p.m. you can switch to a different park on really one ticket for the day. It's a little bit more expensive. I don't think it's something that we're going to want to take advantage of because I don't think it's going to make sense for our group. We're already cramming in an awful lot. That being said, there are a ton of fun park combos that make a lot of sense if you want to try to cram more into one day. There are some interesting Genie Plus hacks that you can kind of check out. Other people have posted them before. One example, if you're not interested in the fireworks at Magic Kingdom, you can hit Magic Kingdom first, knock out a bunch of the rides, and then hop over to Hollywood Studios or Epcot and take advantage of the rides there in the afternoon. You can also start with Animal Kingdom in the morning, knock out all those attractions while the animals are hopefully awake, and then hop over to something else for your evening. With all that in mind, it's time to figure out what you want to do. Buy tickets, make your reservations, and start counting down the time until your Disney vacation. If I missed anything, drop it down in the comments. Feel free to let me know what your favorite park or attraction or dining options are to make sure that we don't miss anything. Talk to you guys later.